Oh, good morning, sunshine. Oh, I could have really used that rest. Anyway, yeah, the car is mostly charged now. I've been checking it on the the car app, the My Chevrolet app. So there's a little baby charging right now. Um, One thing to note is, yeah, this is definitely another reason. I'm actually just going to go down this way. This is definitely another reason why it would have been ideal to leave work earlier. So if you're gonna try and make this Grand Canyon trip from Los Angeles, I would definitely recommend this as a stopping location, just because you have four chargers available. That's pretty awesome. You've got a motel that's available for reasonable. I mean, it was not cheap as far as hotels are concerned. I mean, you could park here and walk under the underpass and go stay at the Motel 6 for about half the price. Um, Actually, why am I putting this in here yet? Um, but overall, it's a good place to stop. Um, and you're coming from LA. You're gonna be here. It's gonna be about 6 hours to get here. So, like, had I planned this better, I would have left the office earlier, and so I would have gotten here about 2 hours earlier last night, which meant I could leave about 2 hours earlier this morning. And actually, I'm gonna put my bags up. So it says it's full by 8 a.m. The original estimate was 8:30, and it kind of sped up from there. But yeah, I could have left basically 2 hours ago, which would have been ideal if I were making this trip, um, if I were planning the trip a little bit better. So right now the plan is I'm gonna try to hit up a electric vehicle museum, and there was a post that they added a level two charger like these um, in at the museum, and it's free to use, but they ask for donation, which of course I would give. And it's important to support the businesses and the places that are trying to allow EVs a little bit more um, room to travel, or capacity to travel. But yeah, so I'm going to check that out, because if that is in place, it's going to change sort of the dynamic of my trip, because um, I think the return trip, because I'm only spending 2 days out here and there's a lot of stuff that I want to do. The return trip, I'm going to need to make it back faster, because I have work on Monday. So this is just a 2 day weekend, and I might not be able to go back. Yeah, you see the charge rate is actually not that high at this point. Though actually I might be already full, so let me see. Um, no, it hasn't reset the energy screen yet. So I'm not 100% full. But anyway, because I need to be back to work on Monday normal time, I might not have the time to come back here and charge on these level twos on the way back. So what I might end up doing is trying an alternate route and coming back through Las Vegas. And it's ironic because it adds, I think, at least 100 or 200 miles to the trip. But because I have access to DC fast chargers instead of the level 2 chargers, it will actually cut about 4 to 5, maybe 6 hours off the return trip. Um, which is, again, that's kind of interesting. But, and we just reset. So there you go. Um, and it looks like it's charging just a little bit, and I'm about out of here actually, and I'm glad this reset, because I didn't want to reset my trip efficiency right now, because I'm kind of curious. From here it's all uphill. So whether I stop in Williams, Arizona, Flagstaff, Arizona, or try to go directly to the Grand Canyon right now, it's all about a 4,000 5,000 foot elevation increase at a minimum. So Yeah, this is going to be fun. Anyway, I've talked too long here in Needles, California, but again, thank you, City of Needles. And next on the list, I think, should be fast chargers. And honestly, if they own this lot, or if they own the lot over there next to the McDonald's, it's a very good spot for a DC fast charger. So, all right, off we go. It's already actually getting kind of warm, so I'm just going to turn the fan on a little bit. Now, I guess I shouldn't say warm. It's actually very, very comfortable, but the Bolt EV's windows can absorb a lot of heat energy, and I still have not done anything in the way of window tinting to sort of block that out. And I plan to, but I plan to add some window tinting, and probably the 3M crystalline, because I really do want to be able to block out a lot of the heat that's coming into the car. And it's, I wouldn't say it's essential, but it's definitely a nice to have in terms of it's not even really about the efficiency. It's just the comfort level. It's a lot easier for the air conditioner to be compensating for a temperature that's only maybe 10 degrees above ambient. Now, you might notice I'm actually going against the recommendations of the navigation system, and the reason for that is I kind of looked at the map a little bit, and I still don't necessarily like all of how the Google Maps is implemented on the app, and so the reason for that is, and this is actually where I'm turning, the reason for that is I can't seem to add destinations the way that I would want to, and that's not like ideal. Oh, this is really interesting. Wow, 8-foot clearance. No wonder they didn't mark this as a a route that you could go. That's pretty funny. But anyway, now that I'm on North K Street, I'm just gonna keep going here until we get to, I guess it's technically Highway 95. So. So this is kind of cool. We're going through a small town. It's just nice to kind of see these things. And talking about open range, well, yeah, there are the... Get your ass out of the road! Sorry, couldn't help it. Yeah. Kind of cool. I don't know that I have time to stop here, but yeah, this is wow. This is pretty fun. I had no idea this was here, and yeah, I think one of these days I might need to stop. Wow, this is so awesome. And notice too, I think these guys are probably used to cars, but they, you know, they just don't care. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta slow down and walk at a donkey's pace. Where are you guys headed? There's definitely a migration. I think actually, as I'm creeping along at 2 miles an hour and letting a donkey get ahead of me, I actually think that go get your food. I actually think that we need to take millions of Los Angeles drivers and force them to drive through this. Just slow down and breathe. This is sweet. Honestly, this is super cool. Oatman, Arizona. This place has my stamp of approval. Yeah. Wow. So here we are in Cool Springs, Radiator Springs, little Bolt EV. So yeah, fun little stop. Got some homemade peanut brittle, some trinkets, and a cold drink for the road. All right, well, we're on our way out of Cool Springs, Radiator Springs, where Lightning, or in this case, Bolty McQueen, is having a cool little runabout. A lot of tourists here, so a nice little stop, some cool people. You know, I definitely recommend this as a stop. They have some nice handmade jewelry if you're into that sort of thing. I just kind of kept it on a budget, got some you know, some snacks and some cool stuff. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that as a stop. So what I'm actually looking for is there's a little museum that was put in place here. They call it like the Powerhouse Museum, and it's an electric vehicle museum. And they said they were putting in an electric vehicle car charger, but I've seen no updates to it. So I figure I'm going to stop in and at the very least see if it's here, because if it is, then that makes a very convenient stop for me on my return trip. So let's see. Okay, so here's an interesting update. You know, I stopped here at this Powerhouse. Can't really see because I'm parked in the shade, but it's an electric vehicle history museum. You know, and they've had a notice up on PlugShare for the last 5 months now, that they were putting in a electric vehicle charger. Okay, so that's a bit disappointing. I talked to the lady inside. They don't have a car charger here. As far as she knows, there's no plans for a car charger. The only one that she could refer me to was the Tesla supercharger over at the Carl's Jr. So apparently they know about that one. Um, so there's another one along the route, and I might actually finally be able to get to use my juice box, which is what I bought it for. Is not just charging at home, but also, well, I should say with my family up north, but also charging along the route. So I'm gonna stop by the Carl's Jr. just on the off chance, just to see the superchargers, and then Carl's Jr. sometimes they will install a CCS plug that's 25 kilowatts, and if they have, I'd like to just to check, because who knows, it's possible, and it just hasn't been added to PlugShare, but I doubt it. I doubt that's the case. So I'm just gonna do a quick drive by, and then head on my way to Flagstaff. So, all right, we're gonna swing by the superchargers, and then from there, I guess I can't bank that quickly. We're gonna swing by the superchargers, and then from there we're gonna head on to a place that tends to be or sounds to be fairly electric vehicle friendly. So we'll see how that works out. Try to merge into traffic here without killing myself or anybody else. All right, sweet. So far so good. And I think I remember the seeing the Carl's Jr. as I was coming through. So like I said, if I remember correctly. Huh. So I guess that's the route you could take to go back to Oatman. So let's see. Yeah, I can see the Carl's Jr. sign from here. And I mean, they have a historic electric vehicle museum there, and I wouldn't mind paying and donating to go in, but because I'm on a tight schedule for this weekend, I'd need to be able to justify spending that time, and right now I just can't, because if I were adding, say, 20, 30, 40 miles while I was there, that would be one thing, but I'm not. I'm actually, let's see. Let me go ahead and, like I said, just turn in here. I just want to see. There's one Tesla there. Probably the person out walking the dogs. I don't know. So it's interesting. Guess the Tesla owner. Oh no, yeah, more than likely. But so the thing is, I'm searching around just to see. They actually don't have very many units here. Yeah, there's nothing. Like I said, sometimes Carl's Jr. will install those charge point CCS stations, the really low draw. Yeah, so they only have 6 stalls here in Kingman. So, but yeah, they'll install those low draw CCS stations that you can you can get a decent number of miles on. Okay, so my battery died on my camera actually, so I lost some of my road trip B-roll footage. It was okay. I was just in the middle of a rant, I believe. Anyway, I'm here in Seligman, and yeah, they have over here. They say please register for an RV spot. So I need to find out if they have a NEMA spot, a NEMA 15 or 1450 that I can plug into, so I can test out my charger. Hopefully, they're reasonable in their rates, and then I'll probably spend an hour or two here, grab some lunch, just maybe relax a little bit. So, okay, all right. Well, that was a bust. Apparently, the clerk told me that they're no longer allowing electric vehicle charging uh, per the owners, which seems counter to what the note was in PlugShare, that the owners were even actually looking into possibly installing an electric vehicle charger. So I'm not sure what prompted that. Um, anyway, I'm going to just go ahead and go on to where I'm probably going to end up spending the night tonight. It all depends on how much how much the room rate is. Otherwise, I don't think I'll be able to make it all the way into Flagstaff. I mean, I basically I think I need to be able to charge, but we'll see. Um, but I'm gonna go ahead and head on out. But I'm marking these off on PlugShare because I think it's important. Um, people might end up, show up here and might have absolutely no other option. The clerk basically recommended that I go, talk to the KOA, Campground of America, or something like that. But um, because they might allow it. But anyway, I'm wasting time, so that's a little bit frustrating. But this is also part of why I went on this trip, is to verify uh, what chargers on PlugShare were actually right and which ones aren't. So far, the one in Needles, great. Even better than advertised. Uh, the one in Kingman, non-existent, and the one here might as well be non-existent. I can see the plugs over there. I could literally just drive over and plug in my juice box right now and start charging, but they said no. So that's their loss. So as a business, it's unfortunate, but if they want to choose to not support travelers, that's their choice. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to be heading into Williams, Arizona right now. It's possible that that's the location where I'm going to end up needing to stay the night. It's one of the ideal locations if I'm going to visit the Grand Canyon. But there are other things I want to go, do as well. As you might have been able to see from the navigation, it's in red. So when Google navigation goes red, what it indicates is that there's some sort of an accident or major slowdown. And that accident or major slowdown, it looks like it's gonna take an hour and 12 minutes to go 44 miles. I might actually just stop here. This is the alternative route they wanted me to take. I guess there are a few convenience stores. Looks like there's a place to eat lunch, and I might just stop here and wait to see if I can maybe wait to see if I can maybe figure out what that slowdown is, why the road is closed, and then go from there. Okay, so it looks like the road's not fully closed, and you know, we still have, it's about 20 miles away, so we actually have plenty of juice to make it. I'm not going to go that alternative route. I know nothing about it, and it's literally another 40 miles or 30 to 40 miles. So, which pushes way past what I think my range might be. So I'm going to go ahead and take Route 66, even though it's going to be a major slowdown. It means that I'm not going to get to my destination until maybe 1, which kind of, or maybe actually 1:30 at this point, which kind of sucks. So anyway, off we go. So the noise will be a little bit louder, but I rolled down the windows. It's a nice day, and we're literally not moving. It must be nice to be time travelers. In case you were wondering, no, we still haven't moved. I guess happy days are here again. We're moving 9, 10 miles an hour. Crest the hill eventually. But this is a nice pace. As I watch these diesel semis struggle to start and stop up a hill, I can't help but think just how much better an electric semi would be. Yay! We made it to Yosemite! No, actually we didn't. So traffic has been moving, but I just saw, well, moving. Technically, yeah, moving. I'm not exactly sure where the chargers are, but I am gonna, oh, actually, that's where they are. And this is exactly what people are talking about, where they get iced, basically. So what you have here is a couple of Tesla chargers and a Denali and a Subaru parked there, and I'm guessing they're parking there because they want the shade. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's unfortunate. So I'm gonna see what my options are here and go from there. Yeah, so I was down to, you know, a decently low state of charge. This might actually be where I end up spending the night anyway, so it's no big deal. Here are the two Tesla destination chargers, and there's a Clipper Creek on the other side. I'm not sure if it will reach this far. I'm going to have to check what the cord is. According to what I've seen, though, it still requires an activation code, but both of these spots are basically iced. So shame on you, shame on you, shame on you. And so I'm gonna go in and talk to hotel staff, see what's going on. Um, and who knows, maybe I can get inventive with a parking spot in the meantime. But they really they really need to put up some signage too, because that's part of why people are parked here. They're just like, oh, who's gonna drive an electric car to Arizona? Oh well. But yeah, so we made it. I don't think we can make it to Flagstaff, which kind of is messing with my schedule a little bit, because I would have liked to go to Flagstaff today. Um, we'll see. This is a good news, bad news scenario. So, yes, terrible, terrible ice vehicles uh, blocking out the EV spots. But the good news is Clipper Creek, 40 amp, long cord. That's right. I don't need to deal with these people. I'm charging. And again, 40 amp. I was down pretty low in charge, but you know, and this is saying it won't be fully charged until 10:30. But this is free for guests. I can just go in, pull in my car, plug in, and they'll activate the charge from inside. It looks like they have some sort of a remote activation for it. And the other thing is just, it's really nice here. So I was mentioning in another video that I'm not too keen on some of the hotels and motels where Tesla decides to install their destination chargers. Look how beautiful that view is. Because they tend to be more expensive than the average person can afford, and that's not going to help electric vehicle adoption, at least not by mass market, mass consumer. So that's something to consider. But I mean, Holiday Inn Express here in Williams, Arizona. Thank you. This was good. I can also confirm for PlugShare that they do not charge additional if you're a guest, if you're renting a room. So, but again, it was a little bit expensive. It was about $230, a lot more than I would spend normally, and just because of the circumstances and everything else, I'm going to be charging late into the night. So, and I might not actually even charge fully. I think what I'm going to do is wait for my room to be finished, cleaned up and ready, and then I'll go relax for a little bit, and then when my car has enough charge, I'll probably drive um, out to Flagstaff, where I was going to go anyway. I still wanted to see Lowell Observatory. I don't really want to change my plans too much, and if that means I can spend an evening even in Flagstaff and maybe even have enough range to drive out to Winslow, Arizona and come back, that would be my preference. I mean, of course, there's the other risk of coming back here and actually having these chargers still blocked by internal combustion vehicles, which is, you know, it sucks. But I think the reason they did it is just because they thought it was going to be you know, shaded for a little while longer. But yeah, so I guess all's well that ends well, and I might try and find a place to get some lunch here in Williams, and I'll probably end up just walking there. So thank you, Tesla. Thank you, Holiday Inn, and I hope this is a lesson for other hotels and motels. Get your destination chargers installed. You're losing business, dudes.